Hey, are you feeling lost in a financial jungle? If so, you're in luck because we have a guide. Joining us today, we have a special guest, Jillian Vukovich, a certified financial planner with IG Wealth Management, who specializes in helping high net worth individuals navigate their complex financial situations. So imagine feeling secure and in control of your money. That's what Jillian can help you achieve. She takes a holistic approach, considering both your personal and business finances, and creates a personalized plan that works for you. So, ready to stop worrying and start growing your wealth? Join us as we explore Jillian's valuable insights and discover strategies that could transform your financial future. Well, hello, Jill. Hey, today we're discussing financial planning and achieving financial peace of mind. So, Jill, let's start a little bit by understanding what ignited your passion into this field.
Hey, Greg, thanks so much for having me today. I had lots of drivers to get into finance. It's something I've always been interested in and was raised in a really cool household that taught me a lot about finances. But it really sparked off for me when, after my entire life of watching my parents run a business and being incredibly successful, that they had a really big challenge and hurdle come up. My dad was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and his business and their income went away within a 6-month time frame. And, they were doing all of the right things, but they didn't have a plan. They didn't have a strategy for the what ifs. And I think most of the time people think, I'll never retire, or I get to work until I'm done, or the money flow won't end. But sometimes we don't have that choice. And the statistics are pretty alarming these days. And, when critical illnesses come up, that kind of stop you in your tracks. So watching my parents go through what they did was just a huge driver for me to ensure that no other business owner ever has to deal with a situation where they're no longer in control of their financial situation.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's the statistics are statistics, but you know what? It's never going to happen to me.
Yeah, right? Not my problem.
I'm guilty. I'm one of those Neanderthal, old guys that, again, I'm bulletproof until I'm not. So.
Most of us are, especially as business owners, because we're used to being in control, right? I'm in control of my hours. I'm in control of my schedule. I'm in control of my income. I'm in control. And most of us aren't very good at the idea of, there might be situations where you're not in control, and we don't plan for those because we've had to pivot 65,000 other times, and you think you can in this one, but if you're physically not capable of working, there's not a whole lot of pivoting that can happen, right? So not saying every situation is going to end in a health concern, but to have a strong plan makes all the difference.
Well, again, it's easy to ignore until you can. So that's a powerful story, Jillian, and I understand what drives your passion and coming through. Yeah. So, what's the main message you want our listeners, our viewers, to take away from today?
I'd really love for people to just understand a little bit more about financial planning. And what is it? In the financial world, there's all kinds of titles and a lot of different positions. And so, when clients feel like they're ready, and it's usually when you don't feel like you're ready, you are ready. But when you feel like you're ready to start sitting down and talking to someone, to just understand that there are, a ton of different titles out there, and to really do some due diligence in understanding who it is that you want to be working with and what that relationship looks like for you. And so just doing a little bit of research on what do all the different titles mean, and what is financial planning, and is that what you're in need of? And if so, doing some due diligence on finding someone that fits well with you.
Yeah, you mentioned something about there's a lot of different titles that are out there, and so can you tell me what's the difference between a financial planner, a certified financial planner, and a financial advisor or an investment advisor? I'm a little confused with that.
Yeah, great question. And a very common misunderstanding. So basically the simple answer is education behind it and focus on what it is. So I know some exceptional investment advisors. They're really great at building strong portfolios if you are sort of in a rate of return focused environment. So, you've got some investments, you want those investments to earn. Generally, you would turn to an investment advisor. A certified financial planner is basically a master's of financial planning. It's many, many years of education that go into looking at a holistic approach to finances. And so I mean, the nitty gritty of what that means is looking at everything. I look at everything. I look at your expenses. I look at your goals. I look at your concerns. I look at what keeps you awake at night. We have some really deep, intimate conversations to figure out what is your relationship with money? How do you feel? What are you trying to achieve? What are the things that you're afraid of? And then applying financial advice, investment advice, insurance advice, tax advice, estate advice, philanthropy advice, all of it into one ball, encompassing those goals and then helping people achieve them. So that's probably the primary difference is where the focus and the end goal is.
It sounds like your services as a certified financial planner match more to, I guess you want to call it high net worth individuals with a lot more complex portfolios versus somebody starting up and they're just looking for RSPs and saving to buy a house. So would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah, 100%. I'm sure everyone's very well aware that there's been a very big boom and upburst in financial technology in the last few years, which I think is exceptional. Everybody kind of asks, well, do you think that your job will be eradicated due to financial technology? And I think, not unless they get really, really smart, and not to say they can't, but, it's financial planning isn't just about rate of return and the numerical side of things. I would say, yes, that's a very, very important part of it, but it's complexity. And so our practice generally does focus on a high net worth space when people are selling a business, have received a large inheritance, have a large pension transfer, are succeeding a farm, big things where it isn't actually how much money your money makes, but it's how do I save in taxes? How do I make this fair amongst my children? How do I learn and understand the things that I need to ensure that my plan is going to go well? And generally that does cater to the high net worth space. And when there are people who, just want to start learning and, applying a few dollars a month to a certain plan to buy a house, RESPs, things like that, there are a ton of institutions that are really excellent in that space, be it the financial tech side of things or bank branches, so on and so forth.
Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, that certainly helps clear things up as to who I'd want to go to for advice and when. Which kind of brings me to my next question. There's a plethora of financial service providers out there. So what makes your company stand out, and why would somebody want to do business with you?
Yeah, another great question. So our team, we've got a team of 7, and we've got 5 licensed advisors, 2 assistants. We cater our process to really specific individuals, and it's a really personalized process. So we really do think of ourselves almost like as a boutique firm. We have a very, small number of clients comparatively to a lot of institutions, but we have really, really deep relationships. And like I said before, it's a lot of discovery and understanding and really knowing our clients and their families and their situations. And that's a huge differentiator for us. And what we continuously hear from clients who come from other firms that say, the service is just next level in the sense of how much we care and how much it actually comes down to relationship. We build a strong relationship, we build trust, we really like each other, and the rest falls into place fairly organically with the right communication and education.
Well, it's there's a couple points that I take away from that. One is, when we're going through school, all of education, it's almost been a taboo to talk about money, right? And to open up to a financial planner, somebody like yourself, you kind of there has to be a deep level of trust. Because you're laying your soul bare, you're sharing.
You are, you're naked, Yeah, it is. They can be really, really vulnerable conversations. And so, you need to make sure that you're comfortable with the person who you're speaking to, because it's tough sometimes. There are some sticky situations that come up and a lot of vulnerability on both sides. And, you want to be comfortable in that situation.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, what? I always love a good story. So do you have a story? Can you share an example of a client that was in a situation where you kind of helped them out?
Yeah, I've got a really cool one from recently. So young couple, 40s, that's young in my world, and a couple of young kids, really, really successful business. They've been working on this business for quite some time. They own both the business and the property that the business runs in as separate entities. And so one of the big questions that they had was, how do we exit this? we've done really well, and honestly, most business owners do really well accumulating. When you're good at what you do, it tends to pay off, right? And so they've done really well accumulating, but now didn't understand what's an exit strategy. And so we spent some time really deep diving into what are the concerns, what are you trying to achieve, what does life look like when you're done? Paint that picture for me. What does that day look like when you're waking up and just deciding what you do today because you can? And so when I got to the root of what it was we were trying to achieve, then I was able to show multiple different scenarios in what if we sold the business and kept the property as rental income? What if we sold the business and the property? What if we did it this year? What if we did it 10 years from now? And so really be able to show that they have a variety of options. What does it do to their future goals? How does it, affect the philanthropy side of things? How does it affect what goes to the children? How does it affect their lifestyle and the gives and takes of each? And so my job is always to just educate and empower. If I can show you pros and cons, because there are pros and cons to everything, of any financial decision, really allowing clients to make that educated choice, knowing why they're doing what they're doing. And so, with those clients, I was able to bring a big piece of mind and understanding. And now I can already see that they go to work enjoying it much more, knowing that they have a strong strategy that can take them out of there when they're ready.
Yeah, excellent. I think you said it best. The biggest outcome is the education to understand which options are there, and what are the implications of choice A, B, or C. But you said it best. It provides a peace of mind. So that's so hard to accomplish these days. So if you can take your financial future off that stack of worries that you have, and work with you, it's extremely valuable in my opinion.
Absolutely. And most business owners, to be fair, don't go home, pour a big glass of wine, kick off their shoes and turn on BNN and start understanding what's happened in the market that day, or read, some kind of a book to help understand what should be the financial situation. And so just having a partner in that, right? And that's really how I like to show up is I want to be my client CFO. I want to help you with every decision. I want to help you understand why, and again, the pros and cons, because it's not all rosy, but there are better choices based on what it is we're trying to achieve. And so if I can be that to them, then all they have to do is go home and really dream and decide what does it look like, and then we can go from there.
Yeah. As you talked about, there's a little different scenarios in there. So I guess from your approach, with everybody's a little different. How do you tailor your approach to each individual?
Yeah, questions, and more questions. I'm fairly curious. I started my life with a background, or my professional life with a background in psychology, and so I really do bring that forward into my practice and understanding what, why, how, and again, getting those sticky roots out. And sometimes it takes 10 questions before someone says, "Oh, I don't trust my, child's partner." I don't feel good about that. And I hate saying it out loud, but that's a huge concern of mine. Most of the time, people don't enter the room and say that right away. So it's really asking and understanding relationship with money. I can almost always pinpoint who's come from an entrepreneurial / farm family and who's come from a professional family based on how they deal with debt, honestly. So business owners and farmers love debt. They're fine, no problems. They could sleep on 100,000 owing and wouldn't bat an eye. Professionals, 10,000 owing is like the end of the world. And so, you really just start to understand some of the psychology behind it and working with clients. And so again, it just questions and digging into what's important. And no two plans are the same. My husband and I don't even have the same plan. We're going to the same place. We have the same destination, but we're not taking the same path to get there. And that's totally fine. And a lot of couples are really surprised when they hear that, because they think, oh, but we're trying to achieve the same thing. And we are. And so long as we all agree that we're trying to achieve the same thing, that's all we need to focus on. And if I say, hey, Greg, meet me at Starbucks downtown, you're going to take one way to get there. I'll take another way to get there, but we're both going to end up at Starbucks downtown, and neither was wrong. And so, focusing on that with family members and partners, just ensuring, and even business partners, they don't have to get to the same place the same way. But if we all know we're going to the same place, there's solutions for it.
What a great analogy. It really hammers it home. It's, as long as you get to the right destination, everybody can choose their path that they're most comfortable with. So
yeah, you could take the slow back roads, you could take the highway, you can do whatever the comfort is, just so long as we all know where we're going.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, you've shared some fairly comprehensive insights here today. So what do you see? What are some of the roadblocks or mistakes or misconceptions that people have when they're looking to choose a partner, a certified financial planner, or even when they're going through the planning stages? What are some of the things that you see out there?
Yeah, there's two major ones that keep coming up. So one is, I don't love saying lack of education, but lack of education. This is a plethora of information and education, and not everybody, actually very few people, are going to know and understand all of the different strategies that go into money. But what I find is, especially in that high net worth environment, when people have amassed a couple $1 million, it's tough for them to say, I don't know what these things are. And it goes back to the point earlier saying, business owners are, and I mean, lots of other people, but we as humans tend to be really good at accumulating. You work, you go, you save, you work, you go, you save. We've got all of these years of that being trained in our heads as to this is what we do. This is why I wake up every day, get a paycheck to save a certain amount of money to do the things. Most people really have no idea how to quit. Not only emotionally, it's very, very difficult, but where does that first paycheck come from? When you are no longer working, when you no longer have the flow of income that you've been used to your whole life coming in, what do you do and where do you take it from? So sometimes those are really hard things for people to say, I don't know how this works. Yes, I've done very well for myself, but I don't know step A, and so that's kind of a tough situation sometimes and a tough conversation for people to have. But, I hope to welcome a really comfortable environment where those conversations are invited, not even just okay. Like, I would love to have that and to be that person to help those understand. We have every acronym that you could possibly think of. No one would know it unless you were in the financial world. Why would you know these things? So that's number one. Number two, there's been a lot of kind of targeted marketing on investment companies and fees. You're still working with your dad's guy, and I saved hundreds of thousands of dollars by doing it on my own, and so on and so forth. And so, not to say that that's not maybe true in some situations. There's definitely a place for robo-advisors, for do-it-yourself investing. Someone who's really, really confident with markets and taxes, I have no problem with them doing it on their own. The majority of people aren't. And just because you've saved well, again, like I said before, doesn't necessarily mean you've saved to the right place. So maybe you avoided $200,000 worth of fees, but maybe you end up costing yourself $500,000 in taxes because of where you invested, right? And so when it comes down to fees, I think it's a really, really important conversation, and hopefully something that any advisor is talking about openly day one. What I do isn't free, but my clients will always know what they pay and see the value that they will receive from that before making the decision. And so, another analogy, I could buy a Cavalier, I could buy a Cadillac. Both, in essence, are vehicles that will get me from point A to point B. But when you look inside of it, you're looking at, comfort, and you're looking at performance, and you're looking at, different values that you as the consumer feel are worth the difference of the cost of a Cavalier and the cost of a Cadillac. Finance, I think, is very much the same. I mean, it's pretty comparatively priced when you get into the higher net worth markets, but you need to feel the value in what it is you're purchasing. It's a conscious purchase. And if you can see true value, then hopefully the fee conversation is a moot point. It should never really have to be a concern. It's only in the lack of value that fees tend to be an issue, and so I would just really, hope that people are having those fee conversations, because it is important to understand what you're purchasing and to see the value coming from it.
It's a little simplistic, I think, but it's the age-old adage, buyer beware, and you get what you pay for. Nothing comes for free.
Yeah. And you don't always want the cheapest, right? I mean, we've learned that the hard way, cheaping out on appliances and all of the stuff, and being like, wow, we dropped the ball on that one. I could have, spent a bit more and received more. And so again, it just comes down to what's the end goal and what are you trying to achieve? And generally, if it's going to save you multi-millions, it's probably going to cost a bit to get there. I've never had a single scenario where a client is paying me more than the value they've received between growth and tax savings and investment strategy and estate strategy. It doesn't happen, but you definitely have to commit to an investment for sure.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Excellent. So, Jill, you've shared a lot of valuable insights today. So again, if you could offer some advice, what would be some of the top tips that you can offer for people when they're looking to choose a financial planner?
Yeah. So number one, do your due diligence. When I work with a client, when I bring someone on, we're working together for 30 years, so you need to make sure that there's a comfortable relationship, that you're comfortable speaking and being honest and open with that person, because true financial planning is going to get to those dark corners, but really bring to light any of the goals and achievements you want inside of it. So, shop around. That's okay. Pick the person that you're comfortable with. And there's a very large statistic in how many, particularly women, transition to new advisors when their husbands pass away because they were never comfortable. Maybe they didn't understand the language. Maybe they didn't feel heard, so I would really encourage single individuals and partners to just do your due diligence and check with, a couple of different institutions and find someone you're comfortable with. Because even when it comes as a referral, someone else's situation might be totally different than yours. So just check into it, right? So that's number one. Number two, I would say is, have those fee conversations. Really make sure that you understand what it is you're purchasing and putting money into, and that you are seeing the value out of it. So not only through investment returns, but having a picture of a full plan in front of you is invaluable at points in time. So really say that. Number three, make sure there's someone that's, really comfortable educating you, and make sure you feel like you can ask those questions and be in a space that's, I keep saying comfortable, but it's true, being comfortable in what it is that you're trying to achieve, and find someone that can help you work towards that. Because when you've got that and that trust and that respect, really, really awesome things can come from the growth of those plans.
Yeah, what's that old saying? The only dumb question is one that's not asked, right?
Yeah.
Basically, get out of your own way. Yeah. Lose the embarrassment. You know what? If you knew everything that there was to be about financial planning, you'd be doing your job. So, you know what? Stay in your lane and don't be afraid to get out and ask the important questions. It's your money. Yeah. It's your life.
100%. And I panic when people don't ask questions. I haven't led you down the right path. Like, it's such an important thing. And again, when I bring clients on, it's that CFO partnership mentality. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to give instructions. I'm here to, based on what it is you're trying to achieve, give you the most viable options to help you achieve it. And then we go from there. And there has to be questions that come with that.
I know. Well, yeah. Jillian, you're clearly passionate about what you do. You care deeply, and you bring just a wealth of knowledge and experience to the table. So, tell us, how can people reach out and connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is probably the easiest way to get a little bit of another peek behind the curtains. So it's just jvig.ca. Sure to be linked somewhere. So that's a really easy resource. I also have all of my socials. And I always welcome a fit meeting to start, to see if I'm a fit for what you're looking for, if I feel that I can help you in the way that you're looking, and if that seems like a great place and a good conversation, then we can transition from there. And if not, I always have a ton of really exceptional referrals that will be very strong for where you need to start. So no matter what, you'll leave with some good education and some good understanding, and you'll be pointed in the right direction. Okay,
fantastic. Well, listen, that's all the time we have for today. So what's your parting words of wisdom? What do you want to leave people with from the learning from this session?
I think the biggest thing is understanding that financial planning and like really true financial success is so much more than, a rate of return or a number on a sheet, which, don't get me wrong, I love me some strong rates of return, but it's really understanding, are we making sense of tax strategy, estate strategy? Are you having your advisors work with your legal teams? I work regularly with my clients' accountants and lawyers. So we're creating this professional network for you that we all work together. We make sure that we're doing right by you, and then we can communicate it back. And when all three of those people are on your side, the decisions have to be great, right? So just really understanding that financial planning is so much more than investments. And, if you feel you're at a point where you don't really know what your next step is or how to exit said awesome situation you're in, that it's probably a really great time to start speaking to someone about some options.
Well, listen, Julie, again, thank you very much. Audience, you've heard it here. If you're looking for a solid financial planner with good advice, with your best interests in mind, give Jillian a call. and all the contact information is here. So thanks. Have a great day. Well, that's a wrap of today's episode of Top Dog Tips. We hope that Jillian Vukovich's insights and strategies have empowered you to take charge of your financial future. Remember, financial security and peace of mind are achievable. If you're ready to transform your financial life, reach out to Jillian and her team. They can help you embark on your journey towards financial tranquility. So stay tuned for more Top Dog Tips. We'll continue to bring you expert advice and inspiring stories to help you thrive in all aspects of your life and business. Until next time, take care.